So this will be your last video explanation for FSW 294. This will cover Module 3, which will be your final 5 weeks in your student teaching. So again, this module is set up similar to the other 3 modules. You will start off with a discussion board like you have in the other modules. This discussion board will pertain more to your overall experience. What were some things you generally liked about your placement? Were some things maybe that you would change? Would you want to have a future job at a center similar to the one you were placed at? So just kind of your final thoughts. And then we're going to go through the key assessment in just a minute, but I want to make sure I cover all of these other documents in here. So this will be your explanation of the learning curve key assessment, which we'll go over in just a second. But this is where you're going to turn in your field placement hours verification. So this login sheet will be found in Module 0. So you will, again, you'll be documenting your hours and your days. You'll scan that and then make sure you put this in, submit it through the course site. This will be what your supervisor, the pre-kindergarten assessment, will complete at the end of your student teaching. So this will be a very collaborative assessment in that she will talk over with you some of your areas that you may need to address, some of your strengths, and just overall impressions of your semester in a preschool setting. And then this is the form for your supervisor's final evaluation report. So let's go over the key assessment just a little bit. So there are some different aspects of this learning curve. So the easiest way to go through this, I think, is to go through just the general directions. But again, like with anything, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to ask myself or your supervisor. So the idea behind this key assessment, this is your culminating experience in student teaching with preschool children. You're going to basically have several steps. So the first step, and again, this is, I want to emphasize the last 5 weeks, not the entire student teaching. So you're going to work with your cooperating teacher to select a topic that will fit into the current curriculum. So this can be a topic you're already doing. This can be a topic that your teacher was moving to next. So this is something that you'll need to decide together. You're going to come up with a communication plan to collaborate and coordinate with families about the learning outcomes. So maybe in a newsletter, you'll let families know what's going on, or maybe your teacher can add it into how they report information to families. They're going to select 2 or more developmentally appropriate assessment techniques that will fit into the subject and lesson plans you're going to teach. Some of these techniques might include measurements such as a formal evaluation, a formal observation, journaling, projects, collecting like a portfolio. You're running anecdotal records that you completed in FSW 382, similar to that kind of a format. You'll plan a method for administering these techniques and for recording your information. So you're going to gather information from your previous courses or texts that support your choice of these strategies. So you're going to make sure you address why you're choosing these particular assessments. You'll need to back yourself up with citations and use your textbook from other classes, notes, your DAP book, any other resources that add to your understanding of why you are doing these particular lessons. So you're going to be doing 2 pre-assessments, and then you're going to do 2 post-assessments. So the idea is to get you used to using assessments. Again, these can be very simple assessments. You can do a curricular web, you can do an observation, the KWL charts, and you're going to look at pre and post to measure the child's learning and understanding before and after you teach this particular unit. Before, during, and after the lesson, you're going to keep a personal journal which contains information from your observations, recording student responses, and insights into the lesson. So during this last 5 weeks, you're going to reflect daily in this journal on the teaching and comment on the strengths of the lessons and areas you might improve upon. So what were some things the children understood easily? What were some things that really didn't go over well and you might reteach it differently? So the final part of this is going to be your report that outlines each of the section headings, including your findings about student learning. So These four, think of these as your headings as you write this up. So these four areas, your lesson plan foundation with family involvement, that will be 5 lesson plans and your parent involvement component. Your assessment plan, which includes which assessments you use, the pre and post, research knowledge base. How did you come up with this? What in the research says this is a good assessment to use, or what is developmentally appropriate about the instruction you used? And then your student learning evidence. What did the children learn as a result of your unit? And then your criteria for evaluation. If you click on these, you'll see the cover page, which is the rubric that you'll be graded on, and then the learning curve key assessment rubric. So this gives you just specific details as far as what you're going to be graded on in each area of your learning curve key assessments.